to my channel. Today I'm going to be teaching you a eye makeup tutorial that a lot of you guys requested on my Instagram and Snapchat. I actually wore the look in Vegas, so I just thought it would be amazing to do it in the same outfit that I was wearing it in. So if you want to see a very smoky, cut crease style look that I'm going to do for you, go ahead and keep watching. So I'm going to be using two palettes today to create this eye look, as well as some single shadows. The first one is the NYX Ultimate, and this shade is Warm Neutrals. So this palette has a lot of really nice rich browns, chocolate browns, has some matte nudes, and then some gold shimmers. So I love this palette if you're wanting to choose something on the cheaper side, because you could create this entire look using just this, and I'm pretty sure that it's under $20. So I'll put the link below for that one. So the second eye palette that I'm using is the Shade and Light eye palette from Kat Von D, and this is the shade Rust. It has 4 matte colors, and I love this palette because of this really dark brown color. It's amazing for the crease and to make it really, really defined, and I love this pink one for the inner corner to shape out that cut crease that we want to create. So that is the second palette that we're going to be using. First things first, we want to prime the eyes. So I'm going to be using my favorite by MAC. This is Soft Ochre. It's a really nice neutral shade primer. And then I'm just going to be using a blending brush to blend this into my entire eyelid up to the brow bone to prep for all of the eyeshadow. So we are just priming the eye. We're using that blending brush. You can use any blending brush that you want. And we are just buffing it into the skin. This primer works with any colors, and it really makes the eyeshadow last a lot longer than it would if you didn't use any, as well as it prevents creasing. We're going to go ahead and pick up our NYX palette, as well as a small tapered blending brush. So the first shade I'm going to pick up, there are no names on this palette, so I'm just going to show it to you and describe what color I'm using. So I'm going to be using this soft light brown shade, and pick a good amount on the brush, and we are going to start shaping out the crease of our eye. So we want to blend it up onto the brow bone as well, but not underneath the brow, because we want to keep that really light. We'll go back in there with this lighter shade to brighten that up though. And I'm also bringing the color in this socket area underneath the front of the brow, because just like on this eye, we want it to be really defined in our crease. So once it looks like that, we're ready for the next shade. So we're going to go ahead and pick up a smaller brush. This one has the name like rubbed off, but we just want a small blending brush that we can use to get into the socket of the eye. So with your smaller blending brush, we're going to go ahead and pick up this deeper brown, and we're going to start to work this into that outer crease. And I'm doing short patting motions so I don't get a lot of fallout, because we've already done the face. But even if you do get fallout, this eyeshadow blends away really nicely and won't ruin your face makeup. So what I'm creating right now is a more angled outer corner of the eyeshadow. So in short stroking motions, we're basically creating a sideways V on the eyeshadow. Start to work this into the inner part of the crease of the eye to create that defined cut crease. And just use a stippling brush if you want to get any of the fallout off of your face. So I'm ready to deepen up the crease even more, because we want it as dark as this side. So I'm going to be using a pencil brush and this darkest shade from the NYX palette. Go ahead and push the pencil brush into the socket of the eye. That is going to be your guideline to show you where you want the darkest shade to go. You can even tilt your head back a little bit so you can see the socket even more, because if you're just like this, you don't see it as well. after you've created the shell of the shape that we want, we're gonna go ahead and get our blending brush again, and we're gonna start warming up that crease and making this look fully blended together. Blending brush or whatever blending brush that you are using, and we're gonna get in here with this rusted orange brown color, and we're just gonna start to blend that over the outer V crease up into the lighter shade underneath the brow. Go ahead and apply it to the outer area of your eyelid so it looks seamlessly blended together. So the next thing to do is to lighten up underneath the brows. It already looks light, but I just want to blend it a little bit better. So we're going to be using another pencil brush. This is the Luxie 217 brush, and we are going to be using the lightest shade in the NYX palette, which is this milky white shade. Go ahead and just follow right along underneath the brow into the shadow to create a really nice blend. So we're going to start to brighten up this area because I want it to be as light as this eye. And we're going to get into the Kat Von D palette. We're going to be using this really light milky shade. You could use, if you wanted to, the NYX palette, but I like how pigmented this palette is. I feel like it's much more pigmented than the NYX palette, but I just wanted to show you guys two different palettes at two different price points. So go ahead and pick up this shade and dust it off. Look how much fallout came out of that. And we are just going to press this into the inner corner of the eye. We are sculpting out that cut crease. And we are just blending that onto the eyelid, basically to the center of the eye. And to be honest, I really like this look completely matte as well. So if you like the way that it looks like this, you could just go ahead and add your wing and your lashes and be done. But I love the shimmer too. So now we're going to be making this really sharp so it cuts someone. And we're going to be using the concealer brush from Luxie. This is 528. And my favorite concealer, this is the Kevyn Aucoin Sensual Skin Enhancer. This is shade 02. So we're just going to get a little bit onto the brush. Can you get that? So you're going to pick up the cap and you're going to just blend the concealer into the cap because we really don't want a lot of the product on the brush, because if we go and put it on, it's just going to be too much. This concealer is so thick. It's the thickest concealer on the planet. So we just want a little bit, because a little goes a long way. Then we're going to pick up a mirror. There's too much on the brush still. We just want a little bit, And then we're going to take it to the eye and angle up your eyes so you're at the same level, and then you can go ahead and go from the outer corner straight up. So it looks really sharp. So we want it to look just like that, and then we are going to blend this away with a beauty blender. So it's gonna look really white under there, so go ahead and grab the color that matches your face and you'll just go over that area so it blends all together and it just doesn't look like white right underneath your eyes. Because as you can see on this side, I did the same exact trick and it doesn't look as bright as that. So I'm just using my nose perfector brush and the powder that I use for my face, which is Frankie Rose Olive. This is one of my favorite powders, as you can see. And I'm just blending over that concealer. And voila! Really sharp, really cut, and really defined. with just using concealer. So now it's time to start on our eyeliner, and we're going to be using the Bare Minerals Lash Domination liner pen. This is a really nice pen to apply your line because it's a felt tip, so it's really easy to use, and it's pretty small, so you can be really defined with it. And what's nice about this shadow, since we did that sharp concealer, we could follow along that line with our liner, so it's kind of like a really good guideline. I almost went cross-eyed. So once you have your wing, that is what it should look like. If you want to do a lot thinner than this, you totally can. But I wanted something super sharp and super fierce because this is a party eye look. So the next thing that we're going to be doing is applying my favorite part, which is the inner corner shimmer, to create a really glam look. And the color that we're going to be using today is actually a highlighter. This, I don't want to tip it over completely, but this is Diamond Glow Powder from Artist Couture. You guys know I'm obsessed with their highlighters. And this is Gold Digger, which is my #1 favorite shade from them. It's a really pretty white with lots of sparkle highlight. And I love to use it on the inner corners of the eyes, so that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to be using a small concealer brush for this part, and we're going to spray this first, dip it into our highlight, and then apply it. The reason why we want to spray the brush is because we want to get it a little bit tacky before we go straight into the powder, because we don't want a lot of loose powder falling off the brush. We want it pretty tacky so it glides on almost like a glaze. So the spray that I'm going to be using is the Slay All Day from Gerard. You can use any spray that you want. We basically just want the brush to be wet. And I don't actually know the name of this brush. It's a small concealer brush. And then we are just going to dip this into the highlight and get a good amount on our brush and go ahead and apply it straight to the eyes. So in short strokey motions, we're working this glow right here into the crease and creating that cut crease. As you can see, it's creating a really nice shape onto the eyelid. Go ahead and stop right when you get to the center of the eye, because what we're going to do is we're just going to feather this into the middle of the eye. Get a little bit more on your brush because I really want the inner corner to be really shimmery. So we want it to look just like that, really shimmery in the inner front and then faded into the middle. We're going to go ahead and pick up our NYX palette again. And the shade that I use in the center of the eye on this eye is this shimmery bronzy gold shade. I just get a little bit on the brush and we're just going to apply it to the center of the eyelid to blend it a little bit through the middle. So once we've created that crease look, we're going to go ahead and apply our lashes, and after we have those on, we'll come back and define the crease a little bit more with the Kat Von D palette. But let's go ahead and pop the other lash on, and I'm going to be using Sasha lashes. These are from Huda Beauty. So before I go ahead and push them up to make them lift, just let them dry a little bit, and this glue is pretty tacky, so once it dries a little amount, we can go ahead and move it, and it's really flexible so the lash can move and look a lot more lifted. So the liner that I'm going to be using on the bottom lash line is Show Me by ColourPop. This is one of my favorite liners. It's a metallic bronze color, and I just love the way that it makes my eye color pop. So one of the last steps that we want to do is we want to define this crease a little bit more with a pencil brush. So we're going to go back in with that pencil brush. And then we're going to go into this dark shade. And these have names on it. So this is actually just called Contour. This is the contour shade from the Kat Von D. It's that deep brown. And we are just going to pop this right into the socket and define this a little bit more. I always like to leave this to the last step because I like the liner to be on, because we want to stop right where the liner starts and then just follow along the top of the cut crease. On some mascara, I'm going to be using one of my favorites. This is Maybelline Lash Sensational. I love this drugstore mascara. It works so good. I don't know why I just blew on the mascara one. Your eyes are basically complete. I'm just going to pop on a little bit more highlighter, a little bit more blush. And I'm going to change the lip because I want to do a dark lip for you guys. Even though this is a dramatic look, I still feel like you can pair it with a darker lip. So let's go ahead and do a lip change, a little bit more glow, and this look will be complete. What the? Oh gosh, I thought I dropped my highlighter. Oh, life was over for a second. So that is the completed look, guys. I hope that you like this sexy eye tutorial. And if you wanted to do a different lip color, you totally can. I never do dark lips, but I really wanted to wear my Love's Lippy from Ofra. This is Hypo. This is Hypno. And if you want to use a different, neutral tone nude lip, go ahead to make this look a little bit more toned down. But I wanted to bump it up a little bit and make it more sexy and sassy and fierce. So if you like this look, please give it a thumbs up. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Go ahead and speak today. Eye time. Thank you guys so. Hippo?